for joining us. We are going to open it up to questions to begin with. Who wants to start us off?
Hey, Max. Happy New Year. Welcome back. To pick up where we left off last year, how do you feel the team coming back from Vancouver, having had what sounds like a really good break? Kamal got married. Some wonderful things have happened in the offseason. What's that environment like in the locker room? Is Vancouver still looming, or are you guys focused on the future?
Well, first, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to everybody here in the room. I believe that it was a very emotional moment after Vancouver. Obviously, it's not the way you want to end the season, especially since it's one of our rivals, and it was a proper build-up around that. We were home as well, so we know how it felt, and we take ownership and responsibility for it as a group. That being said, as you mentioned, there's a foundation already within the group. Obviously, guys that know one another from years before, but guys like me, for instance, that is my second year at the organization. That we know the foundation of the group already. We know one another. So from that standpoint, we are a little bit more advanced than last year, and so I believe that we are in a good form when we're talking about tactics right away and systems and how to talk, how to play with one another, since Phil and the staff are here as well. And so it's not a ground zero start, which is very good compared to 12 months in the past. Yeah.
This is only my second season covering the MLS calendar, and I've been pretty blown away by how quickly the offseason progresses, especially if for teams that make it further into the postseason as well. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, does it feel like that as a player? And with that standing, how do you go about attacking how you improve or maintain or do whatever you need to do in the offseason when it's such a quick from end to start?
That's correct. If you go a bit deeper, it's very hard to first of all decompress. Then you have to take care of your body, shut it down for 2 weeks minimum, and then ramp it up again. In our case, we had a bit over 2 months. Myself, after the national team, I had 7 weeks, which was the first break in 3 years that I had. So it was very good, very beneficiary of it. Physical and mental was a very, very important to check off, and then have a foundation to work on my physical aspect and to arrive here fresh mentally and physically. And so once you go deep into the playoff, it's a fast turnaround, and it can take a toll on yourself. But in the position that we are in, everybody should be fresh and ready to go.
Max, you've obviously reached the heights of MLS. You're an MLS Cup champion, two-time Western Conference champion. Last year was, I'm sure, a little bit more difficult, but what did you learn about yourself in 2024 that you're going to use to your advantage in 2025?
The most important thing is that I know the character of our team, which moments to take care of, to pay a bit more attention defensively and offensively, where sometimes we lacked in 2024. And on myself, it's such a learning curve throughout a career, and for me, it was a first time in 2024 that I was able to really reflect on myself, and that I did not play the last 3 games of the year with the organization as well. So I think it's a learning curve about learning and managing the highs and lows of a season. It was a year very full of emotions as well. In 24, going with the national teams, coming back in, going to my green card and everything. And so this year will be a bit more stability towards this. And so I'm looking forward to it. But then once again, I think coming back to the performance of the group, what I'm looking forward to is that we have a foundation. There's obviously a couple of additions on the team. Ari, Jao just arrived, but the foundation is here, and like we just mentioned, we have something to prove to everybody here in this room. When I say everybody in this room, it's in the locker room, obviously, because we take accountability for last year, and we want to make our people here in the city of Portland proud. Our fans has been tremendous in highs and lows of last year's season, and so we own that to everybody here in Portland.
Hey, Max, just wanted to touch on those new teammates you just mentioned. I know I saw the team put out a social media video of you and James, including Ari in the goalkeeper foot tennis. Just what do you make of them as teammates and players?
Yeah, I know. Well, Jimmy and I we've been together ever since we're teenagers, basically. So we go from a long way. And then I just met Harry when he first arrived here. But that was the first day actually coming back on the field. So putting the cleats, gloves, and having some fun with the guys post session. So I think that's the energy as well that we need to have, is to be competitive because even though it was soccer tennis, we need to be competitive every single day, because you cannot just bring it on a Saturday or a Wednesday night. You got to bring it every single day.
Hey, Max. In the position competition with James, you guys have history, right? You're a union.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe from the outside last year, it was your position to lose, and he played way more than probably people expected outside. Do you look back at that season and say maybe there are lingering effects from the big injury, mentally, physically, whatever, and the instability that you mentioned before? How do you approach that competition this year, fresh?
Yeah, we've mentioned it that Jimmy and I were very close, and we work every single day to get better together. And then the fact that I missed 2 games for the green card, I had the red card against LAFC, and then I was away for a big chunk, almost 2 months in the summer. Which this year will be pretty much similar. In March we miss a game, and then there's there's a June window, and then the Gold Cup, and so it will be similar. But and at the end of the season, it was a coaching staff decision to make a switch. But for me, I see myself as somebody who's very competitive and that wants to win. When I was a free agent a year ago, and I met with Ned on the phone and Phil, my goal was to win games and to win trophies, and that did not change. Even put a little bit of fire within myself, and we had discussions on the closed doors that will stay closed door, but we are very honest and to one another and really transparent, and so we're moving forward together to get this objective, which is to lift trophies. And obviously it is easy to say, difficult to do, but you got to put the work every single day and to be committed to that group. And so that's my mindset arriving into this season.
Happy New Year, Max. Last year, Canada and Mexico 0-0, really tough game. What's your thoughts on that game? And next, this year you're going to be on National League. What do you think about it? And have you talked with your team for this next games against Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, Nations League, trophies on the line as well. 2 games and you can lift a trophy. And that game in Dallas was a very physical one. Not a lot of football, a lot of physical challenge, and which was part of sending a message at some point from both teams, I believe. And so I hope in SoFi it will be a fantastic atmosphere, that's for sure. Knowing the stadium and knowing the South American culture in this beautiful city of Los Angeles, it will be something special. And once you play for a trophy on the line, well, everything is enhanced, and the attention to details and the emotional connection to the game is a little bit elevated. And so we're all looking forward to it.
One last one from Tyson.
Max, you're a vet and a pro, and obviously have been around kind of the contract aspect of this sport. And I'm curious, half our questions to Phil and Ned were about Evander and kind of the will he, won't he, and just that situation. And I'm just curious, how does that carry over into the locker room? And is it something that you guys feel like you need closure on before embarking on this year?
But well, obviously, Evander was the most important player on the field for us last year, and he's an important piece to the organization for the past 2 years because we know the raw talent that this guy has. I honestly don't know how Ned and Phil approach these answers, but from my perspective in the locker room, we love the personality of it. He has the raw talent player, but for the organization and players, and I'm speaking for myself here, you want players that want to be in that locker room right now. And so for the success for the organization in the near future and on the long run for the next 4 or 5 years, you want to have players that want to be here and want to bleed for the jersey and bleed for the organization. And so for sure it's a delicate situation and subject because he's such a quality player, and obviously we all know how last year ended. But as a player perspective, me, Max, I want to fight and die for the guys who are here and wants to be here.